So now class we are going to discuss about the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. So first topic is the reaction with oxygen. So you are familiar with the phenomenon of rusting of iron. So recall the reaction by which rust is formed. You had also performed in class 7 an activity of burning a magnesium ribbon in air. You had learned that in both the processes oxide formation take place. So now recall the burning activity of magnesium ribbon. The ash obtained on burning magnesium ribbon is dissolved in water and tested for its acidic basic nature. Is the solution acidic or basic? How do you ascertain this? You must have observed that the red litmus paper turned blue. So, oxide of magnesium is also basic in nature. In general, metallic oxides are basic in nature. Now, let us observe the reaction of non-metals with oxygen. So, here the name of the product formed in the reaction of sulfur and oxygen is called sulfur dioxide gas. When sulfur dioxide is dissolved in water, sulfurous acid is formed. The reaction can be given as follows: sulfur dioxide SO2 plus with water H2O give rise to sulfurous acid H2SO3. The sulfurous acid turns blue litmus paper red. Generally, oxides of non-metal are acidic in nature. So class, our next topic is reaction with water. So let us see how metals and non-metals react with water. Sodium metal is very reactive. It reacts vigorously with oxygen and water. A lot of heat is generated in the reaction. It is therefore stored in kerosene. Now, since you have observed that the sodium reacts vigorously with water, some other metals do not do so. For example, iron, who reacts with water slowly. Generally, nonmetals do not react with water, though they may be very reactive in air. Such nonmetals are stored in water. For example, phosphorus is a very reactive nonmetal. It catches fire if exposed to air. To prevent the contact of phosphorus with atmospheric oxygen, it is stored in water. Now the next topic, students, as you can see here, is the reaction with acids. So you must have found that non-metals generally do not react with acids, but metals react with acids and produce hydrogen gas that burns with a pop sound. You must have noticed that copper does not react with dilute hydrochloric acid even on heating, but it reacts with sulfuric acid. Okay class, now we will go to the next topic, that is reaction with bases. So what does the pop sound indicate? As before, the pop sound indicates the presence of hydrogen gas. Metals react with sodium hydroxide to produce hydrogen gas. Reaction of non-metal with bases are complex. Complex means they are having multiple steps. That reaction is having so many steps. That reaction doesn't complete in a single step. Okay class, now we will go to our next topic, that is displacement reaction. Now recall the activity of the reaction between the copper sulfate and iron that you have performed in class 7. So now we will see that what changes you see when a chemical reaction happens. For example, in a beaker A, zinc replaces copper from copper sulfate. That is why the blue color of the copper sulfate disappears and a powdery red mass of copper is deposited at the bottom of the beaker. The reaction can be represented as follows: copper sulfate CuSO4 plus with zinc Zn that is blue in color, this copper sulfate, and then it will turn into zinc sulfate, that is ZnSO4, that is colorless, and the deposit will be settled down as copper, Cu in red color. So here it is followed the definite rules based on the fact, and the rule here is that zinc is more reactive than copper and iron. A more reactive metal can replace a less reactive metal, but a less reactive metal cannot replace a more reactive metal. Now you can understand why there is no displacement in equal powerful metals, but there will be always some displacement in the members of metals where one is more reactive and one is less reactive. Now coming to the next topic class, that is the uses of metals and non-metals. You should be able to guess why metals are used in making machineries, automobiles, aeroplanes, trains, satellites, industrial gadgets, cooking utensils, water boilers, etc. You are also familiar with the use of some non-metals. Here are some interesting ones. We are sure that you will guess them right. Non-metals essential for our life, which all living beings inhale during breathing, that we all know is oxygen. Now non-metal used in fertilizers to enhance the growth of plant. Okay, there is phosphorus. Now non-metal used in water purification process, that we all know is chlorine. If you have studied that water treatment plant from the previous class, that is chlorination process which contain chlorine. Non-metal used in purple color solution which is applied to the wounds as an antiseptic is nothing but our iodine. So non-metals used in crackers, there are multiple non-metals that are used in crackers. Okay, for example phosphorus, sulfur, nitrogen, boron, etc. So class, here we complete our chapter. I hope that all of you have understood it well. That's all for today's class. Thank you class.